ask questions. Doesn't matter whether it's about missions or whatever I'm doing. People can ask questions about anything to do with Eve, and I will try to answer it to the best of my ability. I've been playing Eve since like 2004, but I'm not like a master at Eve. I don't know everything, but I know enough to get me through on what I need to do.
Right, and there's a lot to this game, so like I'm not even really worried about like trying to learn it and like, oh, this is what and I kind of don't want to get distracted from the main. Hey, I want to do my career missions,
Yeah.
but I am, but I'm working on like kind of what I think I really want to do in the game and stuff. But I think it could be easy to get distracted and to do something else, and then eventually I want to get to those SoE missions. I don't want to take forever getting to them.
No, which I completely get, and not being funny, it is really easy with Eve to go, ooh, shiny thing, and it's like, I've done it multiple times, like, I do it all the time, even, we all do it, and it's kind of part and parcel of the game, and it's purposely done like that, so you do go, ooh, shiny, what's that, and then you kind of look into something else that, you may not necessarily be looking at, and for me, for example, I'm always constantly looking at capital ships and how to fit them, and different fits and how I can do weird fits and stuff like that. So,
Gail, how do you find an Eve girlfriend? Go outside, touch grass.
No.
Find a game girl.
No. I got an answer to that one. What you do?
Someone asked, "How do you find an Eve girlfriend?"
Yeah. But what you do is you go to Jita 44, and in the local you put that you're gonna give out 10 mil to have a girlfriend.
Yeah, that'll do it.
You'd be surprised on how many people actually send you 10 mil.
But you literally say, girlfriend willing to pay 10 mil. And then someone will give you a girlfriend, whether it's a corpse, a role player that's actually a dude behind the screen. Like, it happens. So,
I mean, I think that may be what Gale is doing. He may be role playing as a girl.
I mean, to be fair, he doesn't have to role play as one.
I don't know who Gale is, but
he's an old court mate of ours, so we're giving him shit.
Oh, okay. I'm like, it sounds like it could be a good joke.
Oh, it's always a good laugh when we get to wind him up. Like, what you'll find as well, Ace, is I like to wind people up in weird and tantalizing ways in some aspects. Fuck
yeah, Kaylee.
Well, there you go.
Kaylee knows it. That'd be funny if she links your character.
I mean, if she wants to. But, this is the thing, like, it's always a good laugh with people, and, but this is just how Eve is. Like, if you can't be a little bit crude, a little bit rude, and everything else, when you're talking to your court mates, as long as you know the individual's, like, limits on how to speak to them, then it's usually pretty good. So, like, I know, like, not being funny, I've known Darth now for fuck knows how long.
3 years?
Yeah. And it's like, I know what his limits are. I know, that quite often I push those limits because it's funny. But at the same time, I will go and give him a big giant hug like a giant teddy bear and call him daddy. So,
Yeah, he likes to hug me with torpedoes.
Yeah.
With torpedoes?
Well, he likes to hug me whilst wearing a priest outfit.
I mean, my character does wear a hood, so...
And not just on his head. Fuck's sake. Oh, I'm so going to get demonetized at some point.
Yeah, I need to upgrade my miners, that's for sure. I like this compression, it's really cool. I just got a frigate. but I got like they said on estimated prices that I got on the inventory thing, like 8 mil in there, and I'm barely over a fourth full with all this compression going on.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, compression is a wonderful thing. Eventually, I'll get back to where I can run multiple accounts, and I'll be doing big mining fleets.
Yeah. And hopefully, I'll get enough money up together soon that I'll be able to create an alliance and then invite all the people that have said they'll join. So, yay.
Oh, I thought you. Oh, you mean an alliance? I've played a lot of games, and they call them guild, they call them alliances, a lot of things. So when we first said alliance, I'm thinking like a general guild, like in this game, an alliance, is basically a corporation, say, a guild or whatever.
Yeah,
But in
yeah.
this game, alliance is
An
something
alliance
different.
is a group of corporations.
Right, yeah, I got it. But at first, when he said that, I was like, that's how I was thinking about, just that default thinking. That was like, you already got an alliance.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But this is the thing, like, within EVE, think of the corporation as the guild, and then, the alliance is multiple guilds.
Right, yeah.
I kind of had to explain that
In some cases, for a legion.
Yeah. It's even worse is when you get a coalition, which is like multiple alliances all together, and you basically,
Oh, they have coalitions in this game too?
yeah, then they don't actually have. It's actually kind of annoying that they haven't put that implemented, where they actually have that sort of scale.
But, so they don't have a mechanic for it, but players just kind of do it themselves.
Yeah. So what they'll tend to do on an alliance level, they'll blue certain other alliances, and things like that, and that's where you then become a coalition, because you then protect each other and help each other out.
How do they keep track of the alliance and the corporations in the coalition? Like an easy way that people would recognize when they look at them or something,
Generally, you'll sort of like get to know this. So, like, for example, you've got the coalition called the Imperium. That is primarily Goon Swarm, Brave, and a few other alliances that are quite big alliances. Like Goon Swarm's the biggest one in the whole game, and then you got like Frat, which is a completely another alliance, which they have their own coalition with other people. So it's one of those things where you'll learn it over time, and it will become sort of second nature.
Okay, so don't step on anybody's toes because you might be getting squashed.
Yeah, but this is where, like, for me, I've got a lot of alliances and corporations that I know, and I'm like, well, the alliances we can basically become friends with. The corporations, if they're not already in an alliance, I'm going to be inviting them into an alliance that I'm going to create. I've already set up like all the information, all the requirement and all that sort of stuff. So it's all
yeah.
there.
You got your stuff very. I like that. You're very structured.
Yeah. Thing is, like, not being funny, I'll openly admit it, I had a massive mental breakdown at the end of last year and the start of this year, and through depression, etc. And since then, I've kind of like been in a massive issue, like having problems, etc. real life. But what I ended up doing is about 3 months ago, is I ended up grabbing some medication from the doctors, ended up becoming a lot more focused. And this is where, like, I had already made the corporation, so that was going to be a thing. But I managed to reset everything in the corp, like, and I mean everything. I reset the description, all the information in the corp. Right, I completely changed it all, so it's one, a little bit more professional, and two, it works out a lot better. So it makes it so much more easier to have everything lined out.
One thing I was concerned about, not like super worried about, but I just kind of caught my eye, is like you've started a lot of corporations and they ended for one reason or another. Now I've done a lot of different games where I've started alliances or merged and took over another alliance, or someone left and gave it to me or whatever. So I have a lot of experience at that. And I'm kind of concerned, like, do you think there may be a reason why there's a repetitive pattern? Like, I look at other people's info and I'll be like, oh, this person's, whether he found it or not, has been in this alliance for like several years or whatever or something, you know?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, the last alliance that I created, which was quite, well, back last year I think it was, or the year before, that basically failed because it was only like me and Darth. So, you know, and there was a few other members, but there wasn't that many. We had structures. As soon as we lost our structures, basically all the members went, well, now we don't have something that we can call home. They went and disappeared. Right?
Okay.
But then, you know, previous corporations I've had where, you know, not being funny, I've had members that are, you know, for example, not exactly the most nicest of people. They created a hostile environment through their own actions, you know, which then at the same time was causing a lot of problems. I know last year I caused a lot of my own problems and kind of collapsed one of my own corps on purpose, but also without necessarily meaning to. But that was primarily due to the fact of my own mental health and everything going downhill massively. But that's where now, like, I've got medication. I've got to a point now where hopefully everything's a little bit more stable, like for me mentally as well as physically, and you know, I'm just getting everything more set up so that way we're not going to be sat there going, oh yeah, well, you know, this and this, and then, you know.
Well, I was just wondering maybe because, like, I know sometimes, and it depends on the game and what type of game it is and the people that join your alliances, to like how the chat goes on and where where it ends up going. But like some games, like just the game structure itself makes it hard to like get a real good alliance going, or like maybe because I played games where there was like hardly any talk in the chat. But that was just the type of game I was playing. I played other games where if you know, I'm in this alliance, but like nobody's really talking because you don't always want to talk, you know, but you know, hey, let's join an alliance where there's active members and they're active in the chat and stuff like that. So I thought maybe that had something to do with it.
Believe it or not, that has had some impact into it. So because of the way that, you know, everything's structured within Eve, a lot of people end up seeing, you know, propaganda videos about Goon Swarm, Frat, Brave, and all these other big alliances, right? Or more established alliances. So of course they're like, yeah, I'm going to go join them. I'm going to, you know, be a part of the big people, and then I'm going to become a scary person myself. Cool. But then what they don't really realize is once you do that, you've then also got, you know, once you join that corporation that's in a big alliance, you're then a number. You're not actually a player. You're not a person within that corp. You are a number, right? If you go and join a massive alliance, you're just adding to their numbers. They don't give a shit.
You mean it's like being part of a real corporation?
Yeah, pretty much, right?
I could not resist that joke.
Yeah, but it's
you're
true.
100%.
No, yeah, it's funny, but it's true, right? But at the same time, this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they go and join up with these big alliances, and then they realize, oh, I'm actually spending more money on ships and fits than what I really need, and it's stuff that, you know, is in a sense the doctrine in case they have to go and deploy somewhere, which cool, not a problem, at least you've got it. But then you're spending out literally hundreds of millions, if not billions, into ships that generally you will not be flying unless you're called to arms, which...
Oh, you're talking about ISK. I thought you were talking about real money.
No. ISK. Like,
got me on that one.
To be fair,
that happened to me flying back in Isaac.
You know, but then you've also got people that will ignore you in these big alliances. You know, they won't do anything together, or if they do, then it's like very cliquey. So unless you're like best buddies with one of them to then bring you in, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's very, yeah, it's cool to be part of the cool kids, but they're not that cool when you actually get into them, and after a month or two, you'll suddenly realize and go, actually, I'd rather go back to